Hello, YouTube. Good morning. What is going on? You are on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun. What is going on? Welcome back. I can't tell you how stoked I am to be home. It is really nice to be in my own little sanctuary. The idea of doing the show on the road is really exciting and cool until you start doing it and you don't have all the stuff that you feel like you need. Uh, and then getting home is amazing, which is what has happened. But good morning, all. Matrix, Rabbit, Maurice, Robin Miners, Dennis from Boston. Good to see you guys. Jane, hello, hello. What is going on? Good morning. Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully, the New Year's treating you very well. Tana Louie, hello, hello. It's nice to make your acquaintance. Good friend, Roberta, hello, hello. Kristen, heck yeah, guys. I am so stoked to be back. And it was a fantastic trip. I feel quite recharged. My vintage moon, Jeremy Fowler. Hey guys. Beta. Yeah, I am super stoked to not be on the mobile in the airport stream. I was getting pretty tired of that, even though I only did it twice. But that being said, we're going to talk about the stages of recovery today, not relapse, which is going to be fun. Figured we'd flip the script on that. I don't think we've ever talked about the stages of recovery. This will be fun. It'll be good. And these are less linear than the stages of relapse. So I think this will be good. This will be really, really good. Nicola, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Also, before we get into it deeply, I will be doing Calhoun's Corner today. I'm a little behind on getting it all rolled out or whatever, but by the time it's painting time today, Calhoun's Corner will exist, and I believe we'll be painting on it. For those of you that have been here a while, I sometimes pop in under the name Spanx Calhoun. If you're subscribed to that channel, that's going to become Calhoun's Corner, Calhoun's Curiosities, whatever I decide. But if you're already subscribed to that, then you're good to go. I will end up putting up a link. I'll have my dad, when he goes live today, put up a link so you guys don't miss out. But yeah, we're going to do that today. Our midday creativity is going to be on my channel from now on. And I think we'll start with crochet or paint today, but eventually we're going to take engines apart, put them back together. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. I'm pretty excited, but we're going to start small. Not prepared to take the engine apart just yet. That being said, welcome all in. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Let's jump into it. So the stages of recovery. This refers to phases people go through as they work toward healing and rebuilding their lives after addiction, trauma, mental health challenges, physical health setbacks. There's a big list here, right? We could insert lots of things into there, right? But the point is, these are the stages of recovery that people go through as they work towards healing, right? That being said, these stages are often dynamic, overlapping, and individualized, but they provide a helpful framework for understanding the journey. Below, we will explore key stages of recovery. So the first stage is called the pre-contemplation stage. And when I first discovered this, I thought to myself, well, that must mean it comes before the contemplation stage. Well, what's that? I started thinking about this without reading it, right? Without actually getting into the material, and it does make sense. So if I'm contemplating recovery, that's not stage one, that's stage two, apparently. Stage one is before I consider recovery is necessary or an option, right? Characteristics of pre-contemplation. Lack of awareness or denial of the problem. I will say, as we're going through this, you might notice some things. Something from your experience may come to mind. Something from, when I read this, I think of friends of mine that are here. You know what I mean? So if you have thoughts come up, just take note, right? Just say, okay, I see you, and we'll address them later, right? We'll save that little piece of information for the journal later, right? Because it's probably important while we're talking about this stuff. If something comes up in your head, it's probably important. So lack of awareness or denial of the problem, minimizing consequences, or feeling hopeless about change. And I can definitely relate with this last bit. I think feeling hopeless about change is the hallmark of this pre-contemplation, right? We don't see the hope yet, but we will. Miss Sunrise Dawn, what's going on? Also, resistance to advice or interventions from others. Now, I don't like putting my friends on blast, but there was a friend of mine that I wanted to go see when I was in Salt Lake, and I did not get to. We had spoken about it, and at first, this person was really pushing for me to come see him, and I really wanted to spend time with my family because I only get to see them once a year, right? So I told my friend, I was like, "Hey, I can do this after they leave or whatever on these days," and they were like, "Okay." And then it came to time to my family left, and I hit this person up, and they didn't respond. And I didn't just hit them up once. I tried to pester them a little bit, and I don't know. We didn't end up speaking after that. I don't know if they got cold feet. I don't know they changed their mind. I don't know if they just got swept up in some tornado, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that this person was resistant, right? They at first were calling for it and then resisted, right? They're definitely not sure. I think that the hopelessness is definitely in them. I think they feel very hopeless. And I don't know about minimizing consequences because I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with them, right? Um, and I don't think that they lack awareness of the problem, but they may be denying it, right? Regardless, that's just an example from my life. More about the pre-contemplation stage. Sharona, good morning. Jenna, Neen, hello, hello. Doing some chores this morning. I have some chores to do. I tell you what, the house is pretty darn clean, but I would like it to be spotless. Being it's January 3rd, I'm 3 days late on the spotless house, so I'm gonna get a bunch of lifeboat stuff done this morning, get the house all cleaned up, and then we're gonna do some Calhoun stuff. Anyways, I digress. Let's put some ones up, guys, for anyone else out there that needs a little help, and for Miss Sunrise Dawn's 5-year-old daughter who fell a few days ago. Just found out she broke her pinky finger. Oh no! The cool thing about youngins, I don't know if 5 is past that point, but when my sister was little, she broke her little arm, and the bones when you're very young are quite malleable. So it was more like it bent. Like they considered it a break, right? But it didn't. It just bent. So they put a cast on to bend it back into place. It was very strange, very interesting, very very interesting. Kathy Ann, hello, hello. Calhoun docked back at the base. Good morning to the crew and much love to everyone. Good to see you, Kathy. I hope you're doing well today. Talking about some stages of recovery. So, more about the pre contemplation stage. Focus. In the pre contemplation stage, we'll be building awareness of the problem, right? We just noted that we have a lack of awareness. So, we want to build awareness. And we would also a little confused here. Oh, I see, I see, I see. Okay. So there are characteristics of the pre-contemplation stage, and then this is what we should be focusing on, right? If we're in the pre-contemplation stage, we want to build awareness, right? We want to come to the table so that we can eat at it, so that we can discuss the matters at hand, right? And we can't do that if we're not even aware of the table. So we have to be aware of the problem. Also, we want to encourage ourselves to self-reflect without judgment, right? Earlier, when I said when things come up, just kind of take note and like we'll move on. That's the without judgment part, right? We observe it, we accept it, and we'll address it a little bit later, right? And also some strategies, if especially if you know someone in this place, right? Education about the impact of the behavior, right? Also, it's worth noting if you do want to, talk to a friend that's in a position like this about something like this, do it delicately, right? If I try to educate my friend about the impact of their behavior, they, initially, my initial thought is that they're not going to take that very well, right? So just trust your heart, you know, go heart forward. And even if they react poorly, at least you know where you stand. Like, you didn't do anything wrong, right? But this is always a tricky thing, eh? Also, sharing this one's much easier. Sharing stories of recovery to inspire hope has been amazing for me. In fact, that's mostly what I do here, right? We do get into the nitty gritty and break things down. But at the end of the day, I started doing this by sharing my experience, right? Um, and you all have your own experience. You all have very unique, powerful experiences. So don't be afraid to share those. They do inspire hope. And hope is one of the most powerful forces on the planet, if you were to ask me. If you were to ask me. All right, contemplation stage. Characteristics of this are going to be recognizing the problem, but feeling ambivalent about change. Now, I have to say, I want to look that word up because I'm not entirely sure. I feel like it means ambiguous, but if it meant ambiguous, they would have just put that right there, right? Ambivalence is the experience of having conflicting feelings Oh, you're feeling conflicted. Okay, easy enough. Recognizing the problem, but feeling conflicted about change, right? I'm not so sure. Also, maybe weighing the pros and cons of making a change, right? Especially, I feel like if I relapse, I go back to this stage sometimes, right? Sometimes I go back to where I was. It's not always that way. In fact, ideally, it's not, right? And also, maybe we're beginning to envision a life in recovery, right? Maybe we're beginning to envision a life where we're not shackled to these substances and these behaviors, right? And these places and these people. In this stage, we would like to focus on strengthening motivation and resolving the ambivalence, right? If we're conflicted, we need to decide, right? And I mean, it's not a race, right? It's a marathon. It's more about the journey than the destination. But that being said, I think it's very important that we decide, right? If we remain conflicted and ambivalent, we will never experience true recovery, right? If we always have one foot in and one foot out, what does that say for the greater whole of my life, right? I think that the ambivalence is a big problem. And this is something that I know very well. I'm very conflicted. I talk about this all the time. Making decisions is something that I struggle with. And it's not because like it, uh, it's because all the options sound great, right? Nothing sounds like, okay, that one's way better than that one. It's an easy decision. Well, that doesn't happen to me very often. Usually I can see merit in all the versions, right? And all the paths and the decisions. So it's hard for me. It's very hard for me. So if I can eliminate that ambivalence, if I can become certain, my life becomes like it takes on a fast track role. All of a sudden I'm making moves. I'm getting things done, right? The goals that looked like 1 year goals, all of a sudden they're 6 month goals, right? All of a sudden they're 2 month goals. And I'm just spitting numbers out, right? This with a grain of salt here, but at the same time, that's what happens when I am able to decide. I just I take off like a rocket. So this is definitely something that I know I can work on. And apparently, weighing the pros and cons helps with that. It does help me. Strategies, discussing personal goals. I like to come on here and do that. In fact, I encourage you all to, if you feel comfortable sharing your personal goals, maybe that's an episode we could do. We could talk about short term and long term goals. That doesn't sound like a terrible idea. But discussing personal goals and how recovery aligns with them is a wonderful strategy. Because look, if we're on this recovery path and some of our goals are not aligning with that, we're going to have to choose between recovery and our goal at some point. It's inevitable, right? So making sure that all of these things align will also assure that my path, right, is exactly where I want it to be. Sounds like an episode to me, says Jeremy. Hell yeah. So I'm talking about. I've decided also today, because I have all these things that I want to do, I'm going to start structuring things a little bit differently. Like, for example, after this show, I'm not going to stop doing the show. I'm going to stop doing the show, but I'm going to make tomorrow's episode. And then the day after that, I'm going to get a few episodes ready so that I don't have to worry about it. Right. And then I think that will streamline my morning, that will streamline my discipline. I've been working on some meditation because I think discipline and patience are my two biggest weaknesses right now. So I think that the solution there is some meditation, every day. But anyways, I digress. I'm going to structure things a little bit differently, right? Highlight the potential benefits of change, right? If we're having a hard time deciding, but we're also maybe we're envisioning what this life could look like in recovery, let's highlight the benefits, right? In that vision, when we're seeing our life in recovery, how it might look. And when you're doing this, get fanciful with it, right? The sky is the limit. Obviously, we are, we have real world stuff going on. Maybe I'm a dad and I have a family to take care of, right? Maybe, I have this career that demands my time and energy, regardless of your actual circumstances. Highlighting the potential benefits is only going to benefit you, right? It's only going to benefit. And we can kind of mold our vision to fit into our current life, right? Or we see an obvious overlap, right? All right, well, my career is going to not it's going to kind of get in the way of this, and this is going to kind of get in the way of my career. So maybe we need to shift a couple pieces around so that they are cohesive. I think that the planning phase, right, this contemplation stage, is very important. It's going to set the stage. It's going to roll out the foundation for the path that we're going to walk, right? And that being said, we can always come back and amend these things, right? Once we're on the path of recovery, we can always go back and change our plans a little bit. Like, hey, maybe I learned something today. And I think that if I do things this way, it might work a little bit better. So I definitely encourage you to revisit, right? My goals have been evolving over the past year. That's for sure. Wine a little bit more. Good to see you. Good luck with your phone call, Miss Sunrise. How's your dad doing now, Wine? That is not the happiest thing I've heard this morning. I hope he's all right. Let's get some ones up for Wine a little bit more and her family, please. Pretty please. Stage 3 is the preparation stage. Characteristics. Decisions to take actions are made, right? So we're making decisions here. We're planning steps to begin recovery. We're gathering resources, gathering friends, our support groups, our therapy, our treatment, right? We're gathering our resources around us. And we're making the decision, all right, today's the day. I'm going to walk this path and I'm not going to look back anymore, right? Start making plans. In this stage, I want to focus on creating a realistic and actionable recovery plan, right? Now, those are very few and simple words to describe a very vast like subject, right? Creating a realistic and actionable recovery plan. This could look like a lot of things. For me, a realistic and actionable recovery plan involves doing the lifeboat every morning, right? Moving to Tucson, so I remove myself. I create that space between me and the community that I was falling down in. And the community wasn't the problem. I'd also like to say, I've said this before, there's plenty of people in that community that I keep in my life because they make me better. Takara, for example, makes me better. Love her. If you're watching, Takara, you're the best. Anyways, what was I saying? Now I'm just thinking about Takara. It wasn't the community that was the issue. I needed space between me and that community so that I could cultivate the discipline and patience in myself to succeed, right? Um, Today, even, so I have to say on my trip, I spent a lot of time with that community. And I still, to this day, if I were to move back today, I don't think I'd be ready. I'm definitely not ready to be immersed in that situation, right? I had a lot of fun. It was wonderful to visit. I bumped into a ton of old friends, right? We did the things, but if I lived there, I don't think that I could maintain the heading that I'm on. It's a blessing. I'm very grateful that I'm in Tucson, right? That I created that space. But again, that's a part of my realistic and actionable recovery plan, right? I created the space. I start doing something every single day. I start my day with recovery, right? And there's some more pieces to it, but I don't need to break the whole thing down. You get it, right? We want to create a realistic and actionable recovery plan. The realistic part is fitting it into like your life, right? Is this actually going to be something I can do? And actionable, I guess that's exactly what that means. Anyways, strategies for this. James Collins, what's going on? Good to see you, dude. Good to see you. Yo, I your channel is awesome, by the way. If anyone here hasn't been to James Collins Cares YouTube channel, I highly suggest you go over there, check it out. Beautiful message, beautiful people. You know how we do. I saw some sobriety up here. Recovery is beautiful. Christina Todd, where's my trophy at? Don't miss the miracle. 8 years clean. That is astronomical. You know, I bet you 8 years ago you would never have thought you'd be 8 years down the road, clean and sober. Now that is a blessing. That is a miracle, right? For every single one of us that has some clean time, even if it's a day, that is a miracle. Because I know we like to forget. I know it's real easy to forget, right? Uh, but when we were down and out, there was no hope, right? It's a miracle that we make it to where we make it. It's a miracle to have one day. It's a miracle to have 8 years. I just think that's beautiful. Dennis from Boston says 7.5 years sober, still have big problems, but I'm in control, not the booze. And that's what matters, my guy. You know, if the booze was still here, your problems would probably be tenfold, right? And they definitely wouldn't be getting solved. No solutions with the booze. So you are uniquely equipped to walk this path now, Dennis. And I'm rooting for you. I think I know you've got this. Wine says he is okay. I currently loathe the hospital, which wouldn't help us find him. Yeah, some people's children, man, I tell you. I tell you. I'm glad that everything worked out, though. Strategies for the preparation stage, right? We're setting small, achievable goals. We talk about that all the time. Building a support network of family, friends, and professionals, right? That's what we're doing right here. We are already are. So number 4. Now we're getting to the fun part. Action stage. Bum, 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 bum. Characteristics of the action stage, folks. Actively implementing our recovery plan. That's all it takes. Making behavioral changes such as abstaining from substances, attending therapy, or adopting healthier habits. If you're showing up to the lifeboat every morning, I mean, I'm not a therapist, right? But you're attending a peer support group at the very least, right? So that's a step in the right direction. We want to build new routines and coping mechanisms, right? We've talked about both of these things a lot ad nauseum on this channel, and I'm sure we will again. But this is why we talk about these things, right? This is a part of our action stage. This is a part of our recovery plan, right? This is a part of the yellow brick recovery road. Although it's not fantasy, it's real. Focus, sustaining efforts, managing challenges, right? So once we get to this stage, we're actively implementing the recovery plan, right? We want to make sure that we can stay on the path, that we can continue to implement this plan, right? If this requires building up a new routine, making coping mechanisms, attending therapy, whatever it takes, we would like to sustain these efforts, right? Manage the challenges that pop up. Because, like Dennis said, no matter what, there's going to be problems in life, right? The life is going to throw us the dreaded curveball. It's going to happen. It always happens, right? But we just want to make sure that we can sustain our efforts and manage those challenges as they come. And each challenge is most likely going to be a unique problem, right? We're uniquely equipped, again, to handle these problems, these challenges when we're not drunk, when we're when we're not, under the influence of these substances, or when we're not actively engaging in our disease of addiction, right? Whether it be gambling, overeating, whatever the case is, right? And as far as strategies go, regularly reviewing progress is a must. Celebrating milestones, also a must, right? We don't want to feel like we're trudging, like we're dragging our feet the whole time. That's why we celebrate the milestones, right? We have a little bit of a celebration, especially coming from a life where I was constantly celebrating good and bad things, right? Everything called for celebration. I need some celebratory action in my life these days, right? So celebrating these milestones, the new year, whatever it is, healthily celebrating milestones is key. And again, regularly reviewing progress. That's something that we do all the time, right? That's the journal. That's us talking about stuff. That's us talking to each other. Also, addressing setbacks with problem solving and seeking support, right? So if we're having a setback, we might need a little extra help. Everybody does sometimes. I encourage you, if you're in this position, to bring it to the boat. I'm sure that someone here may have some experience, right, that may that might benefit your situation. Someone might have a story to tell that maybe you could have some takeaways from. And at the very least, you've got a bunch of people who care about you and want to see you do better, right? At the very least, you got love in here. Cindy G, good morning. The maintenance stage, everyone's favorite stage. Characteristics of this are sustained commitment to recovery over the long term, avoiding relapse by maintaining new habits and coping strategies. I feel like this is our year in review. This episode is like all the things we've talked about this year. That's so crazy. Growing confidence in managing life without old destructive behaviors, right? So as we're walking this path, we're gaining confidence is all that that's saying. And I think that just comes with celebrating your milestones, walking the path, having time under your belt, right? Your confidence grows. Your ability to manage life is proven a little bit, right? In little ways. Proven to yourself, I mean. I keep looking at the chat when I'm trying to look at you guys, but really, if I want to look at you guys, I got to look here. I need to work on that. Focus. In our maintenance stage, we want to prevent complacency and stay vigilant about triggers, right? We know what triggers us, and if we don't, we really need to identify what triggers us. And complacency, I like to say, resting on your laurels, right? Sometimes when we get some time under our belt, we feel like we're doing really good, and then we start to let things slide slowly, and that's complacency, right? Complacency will be the end of us. Don't be complacent. 10 years from now, this fight, this journey, right, this road of recovery will be just as important as it is today for me. 20 years from now, I could still fall, right? It doesn't, time doesn't make you immune. It just makes you complacent, right? So stay vigilant. Focus. We just did that. Strategies. Developing. Here we go. A relapse prevention plan. Now, this is also an episode I would like to do again here soon. We've done this before, but I think in response, like just following up this episode, if we could develop some relapse prevention plans together, I think that would be beneficial to us. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow or the next day. And also continuing participation in support groups or therapy. So if you showed up here today, you're already winning, and give yourself a pat on the back. Love it. Hello, hello. Connections matter. Nothing worse than white knuckling it. I tell you what, I when I first went to AA, I took note pretty quickly of the old timers that had been white knuckling it for like 20 years. It's pretty crazy to see those folks. They didn't seem very happy. They were definitely sober, but not happy. Dennis from Boston says, when the little voice comes in saying, screw it, have a drink. Remembering the pain of detox shuts that demon up. I tell you what, yeah, play the tape through, right? What exactly is going to happen? What happened last time? You know, that's always a good thing to remember. I try to do that. That's usually pretty quick to change my mind. Paula D. Pendley has been sober from alcohol for almost 5 years now, but addressing mental health was important to my sobriety. Congratulations on your sobriety, by the way. That is a big deal. Mental health, I think one of the reasons that addiction and homelessness are so rampant is because as people, as a society, as humans, I don't think we understand mental health very well, and I don't think we understand addiction very well. And both of these things kind of compound on each other, right? It's one thing to have mental illness, and it's another thing to have addiction. But if you have them both, which honestly is common, I think that they kind of feed off each other, right? Like I said, compounding. But as we move forward, I'm hoping that we can understand. My goal is to bring a larger understanding of these two things to the masses. That's one of my life goals for sure. And I think that that in itself, if we as people understood mental health and addiction more fully, I think that these things would be less of a problem, less widespread, right? When the solutions that the government comes up with are obviously not understanding what's happening, like the solution itself screams, I don't understand. That's how I know. That's what makes me think that we don't understand, right? When when the Salt Lake City plan is to get rid of the homeless shelter downtown, right? The centrally located, right, homeless shelter. They demolished that thing with this plan to build 4 more shelters all over the valley in remote locations. Like, that's stupid. They're not going to go live there, right? They're centrally located. The reason they're downtown isn't because of the shelter. It's because that's where they make their living, right? You got to be kidding me. So, anyways, just a simple example of people not understanding mental health, homelessness, addiction. These people aren't out there for their health. You feel me? They're out there because they don't know how not to be out there. Anyways, I digress. That's my righteous indignation right there. Right there. There it was. How did it look? Dad, you watching? All right. Stage 6 is an optional stage. And I think it's all of our least favorite. I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count what it is. And if you guessed relapse, you were correct. Stage 6 is the optional stage of relapse. Characteristics of the relapse stage. Meep, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Meep, meep, meep. Doing a little scrolling, a little reading. Scoob, what's going on, Scooby? Good to see you. Life is a dreamin'. I live for now. Heck yeah, guys. A return to old behavior or unhealthy patterns is the hallmark of the relapse stage. Feelings of shame, guilt, discouragement. Now, if you're feeling shame or guilt, it doesn't necessarily mean you're relapsing, right? I think those kind of come along with the life we've lived, the paths that we've walked, right? There are things in my past that I'm not proud of, aka shame, guilt, discouragement. So I think this is a characteristic of this stage, but just with a grain of salt, right? I felt shame and guilt the other day, right? I deal with this stuff a lot. So it's don't freak out if you're feeling shame and guilt. Just handle it, right? Just convert that shame to guilt, and then know that you're not a bad person, right? You did your best, and we're here now. Krushik, what's going on? Kim, hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome in. If we find ourselves in the optional stage of relapse, let's try and view the relapse as a learning opportunity and not a failure, right? The sky's not falling. I just fell down. I just scuffed my knee a little. Like, let's just get up. Don't rub dirt in it because that's stupid, but maybe put a band-aid on it, wash your wound, and let's just keep going as best we can, huh? Yeah, don't rub dirt in it. Wash the wound. Take care of it. Holy crap. Anyways, strategies. Identifying triggers or vulnerabilities that led to relapse, right? How did I get here? If we unfortunately find ourselves in a relapse position, let's identify how we got triggered, what went down, what vulnerabilities, right? How did we get here? And also let's recommit to recovery and adjust the plan, right? Obviously the plan had some holes in it, otherwise we wouldn't be in this optional, stage. And the final stage, 7. So whether or not we hit that optional stage of relapse, and honestly, for me, I think I needed to. I'm not saying that you should go out there and relapse. I'm just saying that I think that the fact that I did relapse changed everything for me. Um, I think I needed it. And again, like if I could go back, I would try and not do that, obviously, because it had a lot of pain and suffering that came with it. But me relapsing made me who I am today. Um, and it allowed me to step 7, advanced recovery or growth stage. It allowed me to embrace this. It allowed me to experience this advanced recovery and growth. So, recovery is deeply integrated into the life at this point. We're focusing on personal growth, life purposes, helping others, right? Experiencing a stronger sense of identity and fulfillment. Now, these 3 things right here, especially that last one, experiencing a stronger sense of identity and fulfillment, that feels like superpowers. That itself, when I'm experiencing this stronger sense of identity, which I am, and fulfillment, honestly, largely from doing the lifeboat, but also from just what I'm doing in my life. It feels like superpowers. It feels like I shouldn't feel this good without drugs, but that's literally just how you're supposed to feel. We've spent a lifetime beating ourselves down, right? Digging our own grave. And it's amazing when we actually feel okay. It feels like a drug. I digress. Focus. In the advanced recovery and growth stage, we would like to thrive, pardon me, we're thriving beyond recovery and contributing to positively to others, right? We're giving back this gift that we've been given, this blessing that we've received. We're going to go ahead and try and give that to someone else, right? Strategies. We're going to set long term goals, personal, professional, and spiritual goals. And maybe again, mentor and support others on their recovery, right? If I'm at a place where I feel confident, I feel secure, it can only benefit myself and others to try and give that gift to someone else. Carla Norris, hello, hello. I missed you. It's good to see you. Welcome aboard. Krushik says, I went to the clinic this morning to pick up my bottles and decided not to taper and let my body catch up. I'm at 22 milligrams a day. I tell you what, man, I am in full support of this. It sounds like you're very self aware, Krushik, when we talk, which is cool. That's a good thing. Um, Yeah, bro. No need to like put the pedal to the metal, right? This is a marathon either way, right? You're not rushing to some destination that's going to immediately feel better. So, yeah, if that's what feels right, bro, I'm definitely about it. I'm 100% behind you. Jeremy Fowler says one of my also favorite quotes: "Be the change you want to see in the world." It's a good one. It is money. So that's pretty much almost everything I had. Key considerations, right? Little conclusion here. This is a non-linear process. Recovery is not a straight line. People may move back and forth between stages, right? Individualized journey. Everyone's path is unique. Stages may look different depending on the person or their situation, right? Also, support is crucial, whether this is a therapist, a peer support group, your friends, your family, whatever it is. Progressing through these stages often requires a strong support system. So, including friends, family, professionals, peer groups, you get it. Boom, boom, boom. And if you guys want any like more detailed insights on any specific stage that we've been through today or recovery type, please let me know. We can do more on it at another time. In fact, at this time, if there's anything about this show you'd like to talk about more, please let me know. And if there's a topic that you thought of while we were talking about this, also please let me know. Because today I'm going to be putting together a lesson plan for us so that I don't have to worry about it on the fly so much. Because that's cool and all, but at the same time, I'm better when I plan it ahead of time. Krushik says, I saw my friend that I was homeless with 8 years ago. He's still homeless. Gave him a jacket a couple weeks ago. Still had it, so I brought him a expensive Grey Goose feather down jacket and leather gloves and a beanie. He didn't want the tent and boots I brought him. Oh, and I got him a down mummy bag. Dude, that's love. That's love right there. Especially, I feel like the people that we've been down and out with, we cannot help but like love them, because we've been there right there with them. I wonder why he didn't want the tent and the boots. He probably had like a plan or like a go-to that those wouldn't work with. I remember I was homeless in Fort Collins, Colorado for a while, and there was this place called the Murphy Center, and it was like a resource for homeless individuals. They called them transient individuals. Um, and at the Murphy Center, you could get on the computer, you could shower, you could talk to therapists. There was like all kinds of resources paid for by the state, and they had a giveaway. I don't know if it's an annual giveaway or if it was just this one time and I happened to be there, but they were giving away gear. You could either get a sleeping bag, a tent, or I forget what the third thing was, but there was three things, right? And it was I can't remember if we got to pick or if it was just random. But me and my friends went, and between us, we got some sleeping bags, a tent, got some stuff, right? Maybe it was a bag, like a big old backpack, camping backpack. But I remember this tent that we got was like it was a triangle tent, and it was I don't know, maybe like this tall. It wasn't very tall. And maybe as long as my desk, maybe a little longer. You could like lay down in it with a little extra room. And downtown, they had these bike racks that were not anchored into the concrete. They were triangle frames that were the exact dimensions of the tent. Very, very strange. My buddy Arthur and I, in the pitch black of night, went downtown, grabbed one of those bike racks, hoisted either end of it, and just kind of trotted off into the darkness. I think we must have trotted 5 or 6 blocks into this auxiliary parking lot for I want to say it was Odell Brewery. It might have been Squatters. I can't remember. But this auxiliary parking lot had grass that was like twice as tall as a man. And the whole field was this. So we went down in the center of it and kind of stomped down a circle and put the tent over the bike rack. So it was like a frame, like a big steel frame. Very nice. And we had a pretty sweet spot to live until one morning I woke up and Arthur wasn't there. I didn't find this out until later, but I guess that morning he had gotten up and one of the beer trucks in the parking lot, the actual parking lot that didn't have all that grass, was open, and he stole a case of beer off the truck. And of course, they get that on camera, I imagine. So I woke up to sounds of vehicles circling my camp. It's like they couldn't find me or something, which was very strange. In my head, I was like, what if they just drive over me and kill me? What the heck, right? So I like kind of stayed in the tent for a little while and just like listened to this car circling and circling and circling. And finally I came out and I was like, all right, guys, I'm in here. And they cut the grass like the next day, all of it. Darn it, Arthur. What a great spot we had. But no, I'm glad I'm not living like that anymore. I am glad I'm not living like that anymore. A little story time at the end of the day, huh? Zen Wen, much love. It's so good to see you. Thank you for gifting this membership. Boom, boom, boom. Millie the Dandelion. What's going on? Looking good and green. Jeremy Fowler says, dude, the amount of times I was almost robbed while delivering beer, more bad than good, but that's why you lock your bay doors. 100%. Especially, you get someone that really, really likes beer, maybe, alcoholic out in the wild. open beer truck, I mean, it's kind of tempting, especially like if I'm not in my right mind, I'm in my addiction, right? I'm not gonna not rob that truck, right? Anyways, very grateful I don't live like that anymore. Very grateful those are not the thoughts that go through my head these days, right? I tell you what, love being sober, says me, you and me both. Let's go, Annika. Hello, hello. Happy New Year to everyone. Miss you all. Hope you're doing well. Well, I hope you have a great day, Annika. We're gonna be doing I guess now is a good time. So Calhoun's Corner it exists. If you're already subscribed to my Spanx Calhoun channel, that's going to become Calhoun's Corner. I'm just going to change the name and the branding. Um, so when we do our midday creativity, 2 p.m. What is that? 2 p.m. Mountain Standard, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on that channel. I will post a link. I will have my dad post a link. But going forward, our midday creativity is going to be on my channel. Just want to let everybody know. I wonder if I change the name after sharing the link, will it still take you to the right place? That's the question. Because I'm going to change the name today. I haven't yet. Just been having way too much stuff going on. Let's share the channel. Copy channel ID. Thank you, Dennis. You are the man. I hope things look up for you, man. I'm sure that the light is just right around the corner. You know what I mean? Sometimes we got to walk through the darkness just so we can appreciate the light. And I know that sucks, something awful, but looking at it that way helps me keep my chin up, you know? Here is, that certainly doesn't look like a link to me. Oh my. Oh my. There it is. Okay. The functions on this thing. Thank you, Jason. Jason P. What's going on? I'm going to change the name a little bit, but that link should function. Spanx also just purchased my first laptop. Might need you if you're available. Ha ha ha. Absolutely, Jeremy. I can definitely help you out with that. And if there's anything that you have trouble with that's above my pay grade, I can phone a friend. I can use a lifeline and call my nerds. I'm a nerd, by the way. That is an uplifting term if you're part of my circle. We're all nerds. Bumblebee Seafoods, dag nabbit, Arthur. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to Arthur. I hope he's doing well. One of my bestest buds from back in the day. When I was homeless, I forged some friendships that definitely have not kept around. If I were to bump into Arthur today, we would be like old friends, right? It would be there's no guff, no beef or whatever. But I definitely haven't kept up with him. I think we're friends on Facebook. You know what, Meep? I'm glad you bring this up. I had so much fun doing this. I forgot to bring the camera out. I had the tripod and the everything, and I just didn't bring it out. We spun fire almost all night. It was freezing cold, and the shirts came off, and we didn't care. And it was like I'd never left. It was actually one of the coolest experiences I've had all year. I think that, and I've done a lot of fire spinning this year. That session, New Year's Eve was, or I guess it was New Year's Day at that point, was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Lovett says, "Where has Bacon Bits been?" I'm not sure. He does show up in the mornings now and again. I don't think he's a big fan of my dad, which is all right. I think we're like sardines, you know. You can take us or leave us. So it's all good. Much love to Ben. I hope he's doing well today in this new year. Meep, thank you so much. I love that. I love it. You know, honestly, Jeremy, I probably am lost behind Pro Tools as well. But I would love to learn. I just started playing around with what is it, DaVinci Resolve, because it's like a free video editing program. Or is that the graphic design one? I get them mixed up. I have a bunch of new programs. RSM says you are nothing like sardines. Well, I appreciate that. I'm not a big fan of sardines. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Dennis, are you out of here? I hope you have a good day, man. I missed that. Hello from Canada. First time here. Great to see a stream like yours. I've now been sober for 1 year and 8 months. Wow. Can't believe I missed this. Congratulations. That's it's just about the amount of time I have. I think I'm a year and 10 months. I don't want to look at a calendar. It makes me feel bad at math. February 21st will be 2 years for me. Wait, 24th. Let's not cheat. No cheating. I think that's like one of my blessings and my curses, Bumblebee Seafoods. Bumblebee says, I don't think he's a big fan of Dad. You are cracking me up with honesty. Yeah, sometimes I just like I don't think I'm like was it Abraham Lincoln? I cannot tell a lie. I don't think I'm like that, but I'm something close to that. I can definitely tell a dang good lie, but I hate doing it. It makes me feel like less of a person. So I try and just hit you with honesty. And honestly, you can usually dress it up in a certain way where it doesn't hurt, because I'm not, I don't ever intend to verbally punch somebody or anything like that, right? But we can hit the nail on the head and not be worse off. Kim says there's this great new tool out there called YouTube. Have you guys heard of this thing? It can help you through pretty much anything. I love it. Yeah, I've been using YouTube for more and more things. In fact, I when I was at my grandparents' house, they have an Apple TV and like subscription services, and I was trying to navigate and watch regular TV. I can't even do it. Hurts my head. I'd much rather just YouTube it. Steve says DaVinci is for video editing. You can use Blender for graphics. Most of T-Pain's videos are made with Blender. Interesting. That's a fun fact. I'm going to go watch some of T-Pain's videos now and try and identify Blender. That's really cool. Thank you for that. Little fun facts like this I live for, Steve. Most of T-Pain's videos are made with Blender. I love that. Lore. I'm the lore master. When I was in elementary school, Kim says, dude, I didn't have computers in my day when I went to school. When I was in elementary school, I was playing the Oregon Trail and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego on the computers as often as I possibly could. I would stay in from recess to play Carmen Sandiego. And also, back on this note, Bumblebee Seafoods, I'm actually a big fan of Ben. I like the guy. He's a cool cat. We've met in person. We've hung out. He's a really cool cat. And you don't have to like my dad. That's cool. I ain't mad at you. I'm definitely not mad. Sometimes I don't like my dad, and he's my dad. I'm just kidding. I love him. I always like him. Was it the game or playing the game that I wanted? Interesting question. I'm not certain. I am not certain. It could go either way. Spanx, did you die of dysentery on the Oregon Trail at least 100 times? I feel like sometimes we would like drown fording the river. We would die of dysentery a lot or starvation. That happened a lot. I beat it once, I think. I don't know. It's too long ago to remember. Flick Fox, what's going on? Welcome in. It's good to see you, Flick. How are you? How are you? When I was homeless, fun fact, I used to go to the library to play RuneScape. My account still exists. I logged in yesterday just randomly to see if it was still there. It's still there. Dark Skull 111 was my character when I was like, I don't know, I must have been like 12. I remember Arthur's character was D-Mage. We had the silliest names. Bumblebee Seafood says an acquaintance tells you what you want to hear. A friend tells you what you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. And that second part, I always feel like I know this to be true. And when it comes to actually taking the action of telling a friend what needs to be said, it's hard because often it's not received well, right? So when I find myself in this position, I definitely try to dress it up in a way like I don't try to sugarcoat it, right? Because that's not doing anyone a service, right? Trying to make it sweet because it's not sweet. It's not meant to be sweet, but saying it in a way that's non-confrontational or like non-aggressive, right? Saying it like from a neutral standpoint, which is a skill. It is more of an art form, I guess, because I often fail at this, right? But I try to tell a friend what they don't want to hear in a way that they can hear, right? Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Very thought provoking today, y'all. This is how I know what we're talking about is working. You guys are getting it. You guys are teaching me stuff. Bumblebee says, I feel sorry for the people that didn't get to play Oregon Trail. Yo, I feel bad for the people that lived it. You know what I mean? I'm so grateful that this is not the time I was born into. I would have died of dysentery for sure. One funny thing about addiction, I think that says Lost Federales. I'm going to call you Lost, if that's all right with you. Lost says one funny thing about addiction is the everlasting question of is the addiction causing the depression or is the depression causing the addiction? Took me 20 years of drinking to find the answer. And I don't think the answer is so black and white either. And maybe you disagree, and that's totally cool. But I feel like both of these things feed each other, like fuel and a fire, right? Where they get together and it's just like, I feel like depression and addiction like really strengthen each other, which weakens us, right? From the inside out. Yeah, fording the river like was the worst decision. I remember deciding not to ford the river ever again because I kept dying doing it. Flick Fox says I was feeling sucky, but decided nope, I ain't doing that. So I got myself out. Now I'm spending too much on fun stuff for besties kids. Well, sometimes shopping is therapeutic. I believe Nipsey Hussle said, spending racks therapeutic. Anyways, Cindy G says, I love your dad's voice. It is calming. I have a few channels that are on play for falling asleep. Love to listen, but engage mind. So I stop and slow. Dad is great. Yeah, he is wonderful. I could definitely fall asleep to his voice. Now, I'm sure that I have many times in my life, especially in my younger years. I'm not sure I'm familiar with this game, Lost. I bet you if I looked it up, I would recognize it though. Hey, Carol, good to see you. I had a wonderful Christmas, and the New Year so far is awesome. I hope these amazing things upon you as well, Carol. And it's only day 3, right? We've got plenty of time to make it great. Make 2025 great again. Never gets old making fun of that guy. I tell you what. Me too, Meep. I wish they could put the depleted serotonin back in my brain. The cool thing is that this is not beyond repair. Like it may never be exactly what it was, right? At least that's what they say. But over time, walking this road of recovery, personally, I've only been on this path for not even 2 years yet, right? And I'm already experiencing changes in my brain, right? I'm feeling better. I'm feeling happier. I wake up smiling sometimes, right? There's definitely a change in the endorphins in my brain. And I don't know if they're coming back. I don't know if I'm just not self-defeating anymore. I'm not entirely sure what exactly is happening, but the idea behind my depleted serotonin coming back, that's kind of what it feels like, right? My happiness, my drive, my motivation definitely doesn't seem to be as abysmal as it once was. Far from it, exactly. Wait, far from it, actually. Robin says, actually, buying yourself something that will last instead of drugs is a huge reward. Well, heck yeah. Well, heck yeah. I have to say, when I spend money these days, I often find myself thinking, wow, I'm grateful this isn't going to be gone as soon as I get home, right? Which is what happens to drugs. Um, yeah, I really enjoy spending my money on things that are going to last, you know? Something I have definitely taken for granted as well. I never thought about that. Kim, I think that's so interesting. Kim says, I've started taking mature hops extract, and it helps with that and many other things, but I will take it. Tell you what, um, I think that we don't understand alcohol in some ways very well. And I think that because alcohol is a depressant, right? But sometimes you have a beer and you feel kind of giggly, right? A little happy. That's the hops. That's not the alcohol. If you can make hops tea, right? And as me or Kim is saying, they have hops extract. Hops is an interesting thing. I don't know a ton about it, but they use it in the creation of beer, and it does make you feel uplifted. It's a very interesting thing. And I don't know a ton about it, so I'm not going to talk about it a ton. But when I drink a non-alcoholic beer, which I do from time to time, I'm pretty sure it's the hops that I'm enjoying. Also, I guess the taste, right? But I'm pretty sure it's the hops that I'm enjoying. It keeps me coming back. Jeremy Fowler says, check out Chase the Heat. That's my uncle. Johnny Scoville, peppers are a huge serotonin producer, and I 100% back this up. Although I would definitely suggest starting small with the peppers, right? You don't have to eat a super hot to experience capsaicin induced endorphins. I joke, I joke. Were you thinking of that Eminem song when you said that? Because I was. Yeah, Uncle Johnny's new series on like building up your capsaicin tolerance is wonderful. I love it. I've been following along. Um, have not been eating along with him though because feel like I've been having some stomach issues and I'm a little scared, but it is great what he's doing. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm surprised it's taken him this long to do this series, but I'm not complaining. That being said, guys, I think we're getting towards the end of this episode. Please hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It makes a big old difference. If you haven't checked out my dad, the Admiral, Tommy Scoville, this is his channel. I do the morning slot. He will be on later today. And if you don't know, Uncle Johnny Scoville is my uncle, and he's got a channel called Chase the Heat where he eats hot peppers and has wonderful conversations, also well aligned with what we do here. And last, but especially, definitely not least, Relatable Reese. You guys all know her. We love her. Give her a shout out. Go check her channel out if you haven't already, and tell her I sent you. What am I forgetting? Boo, boo, boo. Calhoun's Corner will be today. We're probably just going to do a business as usual live. And as time goes on, you're going to end up seeing not just lives, but videos that have been edited. We're going to do everything creative in Calhoun's Corner, right? Painting, crocheting, fire dancing, farting around. I'm always down to talk about recovery, no matter what we're doing, no matter where we're at, right? If I'm on Reese's channel, if I'm on my own channel, if I'm on Uncle Johnny's channel, it doesn't matter. I'm always down to talk recovery. So don't ever feel like you can't bring it up because we're not talking about it right now, right? If you've got something going on in your life, please, I want to know. And so do the rest of us. Yeah, Bumblebee Seafood. It was really cool to meet you today, yo. Hope to see you again. Same to you, Lost. I really enjoyed our conversations. Welcome aboard. And yeah, to shout out to all the mods, anyone new, the whole crew. You guys are the best. I love you guys. I'll see you here in a few hours. I'm gonna do some eating, some meditating, and maybe some cleaning. But I will see you guys here soon. All right. This has been Captain Calhoun on the lifeboat. Thanks for being here, y'all. We'll see you later.